Appearance and reality. The difference between the real nature of a thing or a person and what that thing or a person appears to be is one of the central themes of She Stoops to Conquer. One of the central themes, the main theme may be love and how obstacles on the way of love or marriage are overcome, but this is also very important. And Oliver Goldsmith is not the only person who has dealt with it. Numerous authors in the tradition of English literature and, of course, other literatures as of now will concentrate on English literature. Our own beloved Shakespeare, most of his plays and works are related to this theme. All that glitters is not gold, you have heard that often been told, Merchant of Venice. So, if something appears golden from outside, it need not be so inside. Iago, the villain, whom leads Othello to suspect the chastity of his wife, murders his wife and kills himself. But actually, uh, Desdemona was not at all unchaste. So, like this. Or Hamlet doubts the integrity of Ophelia. Frailty, thy name is women. Of course, there are other versions that he wanted to keep Ophelia away from this, and then anyway, tragedy occurs. So it's a central thing in Shakespeare too, appearance and reality. So we see in She Stoops to Conquer, the main pair we can say, that is Marlowe, the gentleman from London, and Kate, Marlowe and Kate. They are, let us say, the hero and heroine of the play. Marlowe is a typical clinical case, we can say. He's very shy, very modest in the company of women, but women of his own class. And he, sows his wild oats, let us say, when he is with women of lower class, like servants, barmaids, etc. Quite Freudian. So, he is also not what he appears to be. He is not actually shy and modest, but there is an internal thing in Marlowe, you know, kind of a womanizer when he is with women of quote unquote lower class. So, class is one important thing. So it continues. As you know the story, Marlowe and his friend coming from England to this country side to meet Kate and her parents and family for the marriage proposal. They are misled to believe that the place where Mr. and Mrs. Hardcastle live and even Kate lives is an inn. This is also one appearance and reality. They means basically Marlowe, because Marlowe is accompanied by a friend Hastings, who is part in the whole plot, who has a active part in the plot. So he is also in love with Neville, who is a cousin of Kate. It's a bit complicated. So in the house to be in Mr. and Mrs. Hardcastle's house, Marlowe thinks it to be in and takes Kate for a barmaid. And Kate consciously acts that part out so that she can get close to Marlowe and know his real nature. And later, when I know things turn out to be good for everyone, they're married, etc., etc. But this thing that Kate is not actually a barmaid, but a rich heir to and a lady from the gentry, and then gentleman class, and all these things. Now, if you look at the beginning of the play, also this theme is there because Mr. and Mrs. Hardcastle, they talk about their son, basically Mr. Hardcastle's stepson and Mrs. Hardcastle's son, Tony Lumpkin, the country bumpkin, a very colorful character. Now, Tony's real nature is never clear to his mother, who always thinks like typical mothers that you may know, that her son is very sick, very unwell, very thin, whereas he is actually a robust character, fat and all, and the mother thinks now he's suffering from tuberculosis, he needs to be cared for. is really ill and all that. So she does not see the real state of her son. So that way also, you know, this is a poem, appearance and reality. And but the main thing is that Kate being taken as a barmaid, taken to be a barmaid by Marlowe, by her appearance, is not the reality about Kate, nor is the house that Marlowe thinks is an inn is actually an inn, so on and so forth. So we have to remember so that we are not lost in the story of love. Love slavers, lost. uh, so it should not be lost. The other side, that this is a classic comment on appearance and reality, and also class, class differences, and then inheritance, politics of marriage, because something had happened. The play is dated. I mean, it was first acted in 1773, first produced, and a few years before that, in 1753, the Marriage Act was passed in England. Before that, there was no formal act. And that Marriage Act had a few implications. For example, earlier, the age of consent was 14 for men and 12 for women. They could marry. Now, after the Marriage Act, it was 21. And then, if they had to marry before the age of consent, parental consent was necessary. Without that, they will forfeit the family's thing. They cannot inherit family and all. So this is also relevance for this Neville story, who has a lot of jewels, and Mrs. Hardcastle wants to retain it by forcing her into a marriage within the family or family connections. That is different. So marriage has always been very political. So maybe accept love marriages, but love has its own politics. So this play also exposes that. But this may not be a very conscious attempt on the part of the author, but we do not talk about authorial intentions and all anymore. The text betrays it. Politics of marriage is heavily there. So politics of marriage, the class thing, class theories came later, Karl Marx and others, but class has always been there. And this appearance and reality, and of course, a very favorite theme of all young people, love, that is there. But love, attraction, marriage, things are more contrived than natural, or at least they're as contrived as natural. And one has to be conquered in love, and here, interestingly, the woman takes the leading role. As we often say even about Shakespeare's comedy, that women are the leading characters in Shakespeare's comedies, whereas in tragedies it is the opposite. Here also, Kate stoops, bows down from her own stature as a gentle lady, and she tries to impress her would-be suitor and husband, impress upon him, you know, trying to disguise herself as a barmaid. So this is how she stoops, and this is how she finally conquers and wins the heart of this man. Now, how ethical is it? Since most of my viewers are also doing an ethical paper, that is a question I leave to you to answer. Thank you.